last night, WWE decided, how can we make Raw in Madison Square Garden feel like the best thing you've ever seen of all time? Obviously, John Cena's last ever show on a Monday night is going to tick that box, but why don't we also do 42,798 returns? So many people came back. But in terms of an episode of wrestling television that you do check out every single week, I actually thought WWE did a pretty good job, apart from one segment, which totally blew my mind. And apparently no one agrees with me, which is totally fine. I don't mind it. I enjoy having the conversation. Otherwise, though, in terms of building to Survivor Series, I think we finally found the balance. Now let's talk about John Cena before we do get into the rest of it, because I don't actually think this is going to be the last time we ever see him on Monday Night Raw. I do think it's the last time he's ever going to have a match. I think he is so, what's the word I'm looking for? Of the belief in his morals, which is a very strange sentence, that I don't think he would want to let the fans down. I truly believe he thinks doing a one-year retirement tour, then coming back and doing a match, even within the next 25 years, would fall into that category. So I don't think we're going to see it. But listen, in 2027 or whatever, can he turn up on Raw and just say, oh, hi, it's me, John Cena? Of course he can. Maybe he's not going to do that, but I'd be surprised. And I think it would be ridiculous for him not to do that, given he is one of the best of all time. But he comes out, he's going to cut his big speech. Dominic Mysterio cuts him off. We are going to do Dommy Boy versus John Cena at Survivor Series. I'll talk about that in just 1 second. But ultimately, out come the Judgment Day. A little bit of a story plot hole because Dominic and JD and Finn all hate each other at the moment, or at least JD and Finn don't like Dominic. They take on Sheamus and Rey Mysterio come out to help their old friend John. We just did a house show match from back in the day, but it was so damn fun. It was exactly the right thing to do. You know, we just played the simple playbook, which is a stupid sentence to say, but the reason sometimes people go with the obvious formations, the obvious tactics, the obvious strategy in real sports is because it works, and this worked as well. Although, it still has ups and downs. Again, it's my review show that I do over on What Culture. I freelance for them. I have to say it on here too, because I think it's the real landmark that not a lot of people are talking about, and it's important that we cover all bases. We have now gone 25 years, essentially, give or take, where John Cena's had a move named after pleasuring yourself, and it's fine. Post-PG, it just carried on. The 5-knuckle shuffle. Obviously, if you're young, please just ignore all of this and think of rainbows and Care Bears and ice cream. Everyone loves ice cream. It's a lovely, sugary treat. But yes, Sheamus did it, and Rey Mysterio did it, and John Cena did it. Then John Cena got the AA on JD McDonut, 1, 2, 3. But it was really nice. And if you wanted to feel warm and fuzzy in your tum-tum and have water coming out your seeing devices, Cena ended this by looking into the camera and being like, that's all, man, I love you. It's like, damn it, John, you're doing it again. You could have done a big angle here, but actually now, with 2 appearances left, I think something seismic is going on at Survivor Series, and obviously something big is going to happen on his last show at Saturday Night's Main Event on December 13th, because if nothing else, he's leaving forever. But that Dominic match at Survivor Series, I tell you why I like it. I don't see why you do the rematch unless John Cena is going to lose that title to Dominic Mysterio. Now, there's all this stuff going around that if John Cena could have planned his own retirement tour, he would have worked more with younger guys in order to get them over. I tell you, John Cena losing to Dominic Mysterio, who then wins the IC title back, if we treat the fallout and everything going forward from that point correctly, it's going to turn Dom into an even bigger superstar than he already is. Now, there's no rush to do this because he's a young guy and he's only going to get better. He should be the world champion one day. I'm already convinced. To me, it's not a size thing. Sometimes people use that as a counterpoint. It's about the overall makeup of a wrestler or a superstar. And he just has it. He gets it. I think he talks to a younger demographic because he's of that generation. I think it's got to be done. And the Austin Theory thing at WrestleMania 1 year, 2 year, 3 years ago did not work. This is what we should do again with this. But as Don Mysterio is connecting better with the fans, just lean into it. It can probably prolong his heel thing for a little bit longer. I would assume that he is going to have to cheat. Maybe you can do something with Rey Mysterio as well to build that at WrestleMania or something. He may lose, right? Dom could lose. However, if we are going to do it, I think that would be awesome. I think that would be a massive use of John Cena's second to last match, as I struggle to get that out. But I also think it ties into his last match too. Because if he loses there, everyone's then going to assume he wins his last match, but then you're going to get people going, John Cena would never lose his last match because he's like a traditionalist. So I actually think it brings even more jeopardy to a match that's already going to be drowning in jeopardy. Let's say that it is Gunther who makes it all the way through to the final, somebody that you could also believe could beat John Cena. I just think it ticks a lot of boxes, and it's quite exciting. And of course, it means John Cena drops that title. A big problem people had was the idea of him not losing the IC title, but just relinquishing it because he has retired, even though it does open a cool tournament or something for 2026. But I think some people want to see that John Cena power, which is not a euphemism, go to somebody else. And Dominic Mysterio should be that guy. Like, you can argue he doesn't need it because he's already halfway there. That's what Bon Jovi was singing about. But as we saw with Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania 30, if you can treat these seismic things correctly, it can do you the world of good. So I really, really do hope that he does win. And it got me very excited, especially because it's going to be in San Diego. It doesn't matter where WWE WWE goes, nobody is going to boo John Cena. But given that it is Dominic Mysterio's hometown, they may be like, you know what, let's give Dom an even harder time because we just want to play our part. And sometimes WWE and all wrestling audiences do that. They just decide, boo the good guys, cheer the bad guys, other way around, of course. And it makes for a better product, and it makes for a better atmosphere. And ultimately, especially when you're watching on television at home, that's what you want. So, very excited about this. The most inoffensive segment ever in terms of John Cena. We did have the big promo of setting up that match, though, and I wanted more chatting between the two. And we still have at least one Raw before Survivor Series, so Dominic Mysterio can do something big next week as well. I don't think Cena's going to be on, but he's not going to be on the show. So that will be good. But just lovely, to be honest. Because again, this is about saying goodbye to John Cena, who we all now love. Even if you didn't like him back in the day, I think you're now on board the train and you understand how much he's brought to the industry. And to see him team up with Sheamus and Rey Mysterio, who he does have a past with, though Sheamus is still in that tournament. So that kind of gave it away. It's not going to be Sheamus, all right? I guess nobody actually presumed it would be. But just, well, to use my dumb catchphrase again, warm and fuzzy in my tum-tum. That's how it made me feel. I was like, I don't need any shocks. I don't need any twists. This is enough. Seeing John Cena have a good time with people, like I say, he has a relationship with, and against three heels who was bumping his ass off for. And also, John Cena took all their finishes, and Sheamus and Rey had to break up that pin. So Judgment Day can argue they did have John Cena beat. It's just so easy to watch. I think it's probably something you could watch with your mum, your nan, your granddad, your friend down the road doesn't watch wrestling. Everybody would be able to appreciate this. Got no notes. I thought it was a delight. We mentioned Gunther as well. Yes, he made his return to his original theme. Of all the people, listen, his OG theme is better than the theme he was using. Of all the people that didn't need to do that, we did need it. He was lower on the list. Like poor old Sheamus. He needs his theme back, and there's a lot of people with terrible themes. But you can never get mad at this, especially because it's royalty-free. It's like a super old classical song. No, you have to pay money to anybody to use it. But Gunther versus Javon Evans kind of ties into the John Cena conversation we were just having, hence why he's probably in this tournament. I don't think this was like, oh my gosh, the best match you've ever seen. I think sometimes we have a tendency to buy into hyperbole, as we should do. It can be fun, especially when it comes to wrestling. You're not hurting anybody. It was a really flipping good match, and Gunther looked awesome, and Javon Evans looked awesome. It's not just based on this match. What Javon has done in NXT, that match he had against Sami Zayn in the US Open title challenge a couple of months ago, or whenever it was, Javon Evans should be on the main roster. He just should. I think he's either 20, 21, 22, or 23 years old. I don't care about a number. I really, really don't. I don't care that a lot of the main event scene is over 40. I don't care if somebody comes in and they're 20. As long as I enjoy what they're doing, somebody could be 72. What do I care? You could have a 72 world champion if you watch the show and everybody agreed, this is the guy we want. We love this guy. We're going to cheer this guy. This guy's going to benefit TV numbers and ratings and all that kind of nonsense. I mean, it'd be great for John Evans to get more experience in NXT, but he's not a usual NXT guy. He worked the indie scene for ages before he did get picked up. He clearly knows what he's doing. Sheamus put him over this week after working on a house show. Apparently John Cena thinks he's amazing. I'd imagine Gunther went backstage and went, oh man, you're a really good dude. I just think we should bring him up because then you do kind of counterbalance everything we've just talked about. All right, the typically top stars are all in their 40s after years of experience and earning that spot. So let's get Javon in there now so he can be in that spot. And let's say even 8 years. He's still not going to be 30 years old. I just think it would freshen things up. It's another guy in the Dominic Mysterio mold who is just going to talk to a younger generation because he's of that generation. This was just, again, it was a really good match. But you know Javon Evans could do better with a better story and promos and stuff. But even then, just throwing him out there in front of MSG, you get this. And I understand Gunther's one of the best around right now. But it just did exactly what it needed to do. And Javon Evans had this crowd behind him. I don't think anybody truly believed he was going to win, even though he was getting his 1-2 oohs. Now, obviously, Gunther grabs him in the sleeper and he has to tap out, which I enjoyed. I'm so done with people passing out in a sleeper. Like, I love Javon Evans. He is totally fine by tapping out to a sleeper, right? You should save the falling asleep for the big old main events when you're trying to really sell somebody. I'm glad that we didn't do that. And Gunther is just the man. Like, he's just the best. He comes out, he's got a presence to him. And the way he works, I actually think would benefit John Cena in his last match. Like, I think a lot of the best work John Cena has done this year is when it's more about character and not taking it slow. That's way too unfair. But just sort of having a specific focal point. So the AJ Styles match, an homage to wrestling. The Cody Rhodes match at SummerSlam was just like an absolute brawl. And the Gunther match can be, you know, how do I take someone that is so dominant and so overpowering down in my last match, which I have to win? You can just put it all on the story. But I did think this was awesome. It's great to have Gunther back. We kind of did step on his pop, as people say, by announcing that he was going to come back. I thought he could have been another surprise on this show. I mean, we already had, like I say, 900 of them. Why couldn't we have 901? But maybe he's not a pomp and circumstance kind of a guy. But just awesome stuff. Gunther goes through And yeah, I really, 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 really hope Javon Evans gets the nudge sooner than later. And even if we have to sort of move some things around at NXT, because eventually he was going to become the NXT champion, that's okay. The whole point of bringing people in should be to benefit whatever product they are on. He'd be great on Raw, he'd be great on SmackDown, especially if SmackDown's about to go to 3 hours. My gosh, he could go on an Intercontinental title, a US title run. Either of those belts would be totally fine. I just thought it was good, and it was so easy to watch. And again, I think Gunther is brilliant, one of the best there is. But Javon is just so damn fun to watch. And I love NXT. I think it's a super entertaining program, and it makes no sense, and I mean that as a hugely positive way, because they try things. I just think you are standing on ceremony, Mr. Wayne, by keeping Javon Evans down there. I would bring him up, and I would just set him loose, let him win some huge matches, let him win a big championship in his first few months. You don't have to let everyone pay their dues, whatever the right term would be. He's good to go, right? The oven has clicked. Get him going. And of course, we had the other John Cena tournament match as well, which was Solo Sikoa versus Dolph Ziggler. This pop for Dolph Ziggler it will warm your heart, man, and it will make you happy. And if nothing else, that man is so damn good. People always go, he just bumps a lot. So, it's more than that anyway. You are massively understating what that is. But that's a huge skill in wrestling, and Dolph Ziggler is always able to make himself stand out a mile. The way that he reacted to Samoan drop, the flipping way he sold the Samoan spike like he was dead, I just thought it was awesome. I thought Solo Sikoa played his part as well. He understood almost, I'm winning, but this match has to be about Dolph. So I'm almost going to take a lot of my silly mannerisms, which I love, some of the best things in WWE. I'm going to tone them down and almost, on purpose, be a generic heel, just so that Dolph Ziggler can enjoy the shine. I get the win, then I can go back to the rest of it. No MFTs, nobody running in. So well done. And of course, a lot of it was you were driving on the adrenaline of the pop that MSG gave Dolph Ziggler. But Dolph Ziggler is just awesome. And he's doing great stuff in TNA, and I hope he continues to do good stuff in TNA. But if WWE wants to give him a call and bring him back, problem is he's going to fall right back into that position he had before, which would be unfair. Like, I'm just as bad. I'd love to see him work with Javon Evans. But it's because Dolph Ziggler has so much experience, and he kind of has this unique way about him that when you're working with another unique talent, he'll be able to teach you a few things. But it was just awesome. And again, Solo Sikoa goes through. We now do have somewhat of a bracket. I think somebody worked it out. And essentially it is Rusev versus Sheamus. I can't remember what the other match is now, but it was pretty interesting. And I think people assumed that we could be eventually getting Gunther versus Jey Uso, which would make sense, especially given the year's storylines. Given the people that are left, it has to be Gunther. I don't think Solo Sikoa is going to win. We're getting Penta versus Finn Balor. I don't think either of them is going to win. Again, Rusev versus Sheamus, I think is there designed to get Sheamus' win back. Probably get Sheamus versus Gunther too, which would be a tie back. Probably be the semi-finals or the finals, maybe Sheamus versus Gunther. It probably would be, because then you got a banger match and a very, very understandable babyface and a very, very understandable heel. Anyway, I'm getting carried away here. The Dolph Ziggler return was great. Even if you don't want to watch the match, which you should, it's only like 5 minutes, a bit longer than that, but it's so easy to watch. Watch the entrance, see how happy he is. Ties into the Zack Ryder stuff. You see some people going, oh, I can't believe he came back. He never said he'd come back as Dolph Ziggler. Just imagine you are there. For 1 second, just put yourself in their shoes and imagine the phone rang. Would you like to come back and do one last hurrah in a John Cena tournament at Madison Square Garden? If you say no because of a stupid name, you are not embracing life in the right way. I understand we're talking wrestling here. Life is about taking these opportunities. Unless you don't want to do it, that's cool as well. But to throw that out over a silly thing like a name or something you've said in the past, which wasn't a big deal, it was lighthearted anyway, I just think it's a mistake. Life is out there to embrace these opportunities that come along. And let's say you want to do something today. You want to be a wrestler, you want to be in a band, you want to be a doctor, you want to sit on the couch and eat pizza. You can do it. You are in control. Get up, say yes, go out there, use that word one last time, just embrace things. So hell yeah to Zack Ryder, hell yeah to Dolph Ziggler. They can now go back to being Matt Cardona and Nick Nemeth. It's only going to benefit them. Thought it was wonderful. Main event angle 2, Brock Lesnar's back. Roman Reigns is back. This wasn't much of a thing in terms of there was no sort of big information. But Paul Heyman comes out and says the team that I've assembled is the best team ever. He'd already teased the 5th member was going to be here. Out comes Punk, out comes Cody, out come the Usos again to a big fight. And as soon as, who was the guy left? CM Punk was the guy left. Brock Lesnar comes out, killed CM Punk, killed Cody Rhodes, who, not forgetting, are the WWE champions. The way he did that, I think we're probably getting Cody versus Brock. I know that we already had it, but again, and Punk versus Brock at some point too. Interesting. We'll talk about it as and when. And then just when it looks like Raw's going to go off air, Roman Reigns comes back and he beats the crap out of everyone, including the NYPD. He beat up a cop. He speared Bronson Reed through Barry Barricade and kind of crushed them both. So he has to go to jail. There's no two ways about it. I did think it was a good angle. It had WrestleMania 40 energy, night 2, right? Which was like, this guy's here, that guy's here. And because the Madison Square Garden crowd, we're going to pop massive for that. The adrenaline came out the screen and it hit you as well. And it also means we're done right. I'm going to get this wrong, but it's Roman Reigns, it's Cody Rhodes, It's the Usos and CM Punk taking on the Vision, which is 3 guys, Logan Paul and Drew McIntyre. So there you go. At one point, CM Punk was choking Logan Paul so Roman Reigns could do the big spear. I don't know who wins that. Drew McIntyre's in an interesting position. He cannot be pinned, Drew. He can be on the losing team, but the man cannot be pinned. But it was a good closing section, right? It heightened everything. It told you what we were going to do. And in terms of war games we've done recently and putting star power in there, I mean, Randy Orton and John Cena. I'm probably forgetting somebody now, and I punch myself in the face. But they're the only 2 guys I think you could have worked in there to get to the level that we are doing. You know they're going to go all out. You know it's going to be crazy. So it's very, very well done. Again, it got me excited for the Survivor Series. And as I always say, that's the entire point. The women's War Games, however, now I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be good. I guess this ties into the Maxine Dupree-Becky Lynch match, which I also thought was fantastic. Maxine Dupree wins after AJ Lee comes out to do classic distraction tactics, and Becky Lynch can't handle that. She's somewhere outside the ring. I can't remember I'm possibly in a match. Maxine hit a diving crossbody for the 3. I said there's an ups and downs, and say it here too. If we're going to put world championships on people for 47 years, the mid-card titles have to be not hot potato around, but moved as and when. This was brilliant. Becky Lynch will win it back 1-2 weeks. She'll feud with AJ Lee. What I didn't like, let's just be honest, was the Alexa Bliss promo. Not the promo itself, but the verbiage she was given to say. Love the angle on SmackDown when Charlotte Flair was like, I'm not teaming with Rhea Ripley. She's an asshole to me. And Rhea was like, I don't like you either. Thank you very much. Because they have had a couple of feuds and they've said some horrible stuff to each other. Then 3 days later, the blame is on Charlotte Flair, right? Alexa Bliss, who comes out and says, you are my best friend. So I can't believe you ignore me. I can't believe you're breaking our trust. I can't believe you're the reason I got beaten up by the Kabuki Warriors. I was like, maybe you should blame the Kabuki Warriors. It was gaslighting, all right? It was emotion manipulation. It's the kind of shib that Roman Reigns used to do to Jey Uso. I couldn't believe this was meant to be a babyface thing. And also, if you're a true friend, give someone a weekend to chill out. Get their head around things. She even said, I've been stalking you on Instagram. I've seen the posts you've been putting up. Bro, you got to calm down. This is red flag central. And also, from a nerd point of view, it's way too soon. Because, of course, out came Nia Jax, Last Legend, the Kabuki Warriors. They start getting into a fight. Out comes Charlotte Flair with Kenny the Kendo Stick. So apparently Alexa Bliss couldn't find her backstage. She whips everybody up. They hug. And the best part was Rhea and Io Sky hugged. And Io did it. And looked over like, I'm joining in. Because she just wants everyone to be friends. And Charlotte actually laughed. And it was a real laugh. And it was wonderful. If I was Charlotte, I would have smacked Alexa Bliss with a kendo stick. Like, you're a horrible person. I don't know who came up with that, but that was miswritten, which I don't believe is a word. It didn't come across like, oh yeah, Charlotte, you dastardly person. I was like, Charlotte, you need to get away from these people. They are not good for you. I think we know these teams as well, because after the Maxine thing, Rhea Ripley found AJ Lee and was like, be in my War Games team, and she essentially said yes. So Becky Lynch will be on the Oscar team, which makes sense because they had that staring contest a few weeks ago. Can I get this right? Probably not. So it's going to be Last Legend, Nia Jax, the Kabuki Warriors, and Becky Lynch taking on Rhea Ripley, Io Sky, Charlotte Flair, Alexa Bliss, and AJ Lee. Also very, very good. I'm always going to advocate this is for the blood and guts too, as we talked about last week. The women's story makes sense for War Games, do that. And if the men's story makes sense, do that. And then the next year, just switch it. We do not need 2. I don't think there's a need for it. I don't think that equals equality anymore. I think you should just pick the one that makes the most sense. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I don't know. I just think sometimes whoever goes in the number 2 position sometimes has to come up with spots that we wouldn't need to do if we only had one. Not that I mind. These are 2 amazing War Games, like they just are. And I think they will be great. And the women's stuff they did was good. I was a bit wishy-washy with the Nikki Bella, Stephanie Vaquer stuff. It was totally fine, but it was quick, and I felt like we needed to hear Stephanie talk. I do like Nikki Bella as a heel. I want to give her time. I think she's going to flourish. I think she's very, very good in that role. But it just came and went, and I was like, what? What are we doing here? And Nikki Bella's, I don't want to be your sidekick. I hope there's a better excuse. You put yourself in that role, Nikki. You start teaming with Stephanie, not the other way around. In fact, she was quite blasé towards you, like, well, where, Nikki, how are we going to go? But we're being ridiculous here. It was a great episode of Raw. And if you want to watch it, like you need sort of a pat on the back or sort of a green light to watch it, you should. It's really, really good. And it may not be as good because a lot of it does rely on cheap pops, for lack of a better term. I don't mind cheap pops. Do 100 returns as far as I'm concerned. When you get the return of AJ Lee, the return of Dolph Ziggler, the return of Brock Lesnar, and the return of Roman Reigns, and all that stuff with John Cena at the start, you basically booked, and the Maxine Dupree IC title winners, I cut myself off, you've booked yourself for pop down, pop down, pop down, pop down. So when you get to the end, of course you feel great because your adrenaline's been spiked the entire time. But it was a good episode of Raw. I think the 2 things are, what do we do coming out of Survivor Series, and what do we do once John Cena has gone away? Because a lot of this is built on the back of him, as it should be for now. But let's just focus on today. It was good stuff. Best Raw in ages. Now, as ever, please do let me know what you thought about Raw and the Alexa Bliss stuff. I could be wrong here. Maybe I've misconstrued this. I am an idiot, don't forget. Like the video, share the video, and subscribe. Grillofmine.com before I forget, /Simon. Use code Simon. 40% off. It's Black Friday time. It's going on for a while. So if you wanted to try them out, I promise you they're great fitness supplements. They ship worldwide. Some areas it's free shipping too. If you don't like it, come and yell at me. And I don't believe it's going to happen. Hence why I don't mind saying it. Otherwise, yes, click everything around here as well. Patreon.com /Simon316 for watch-alongs. Doing a bunch of John Cena matches at the moment for obvious reasons. Simon316 to increase my social count and make me feel good because it's 2025. Christmas is coming up. Get a happy holiday cameo. Search for my name. TikTok for all my dumb, stupid videos when I pretend that I work backstage at WWE. Pro Wrestling Tees for merchandise. Otherwise, have a lovely week. Thank you for your support. See you soon.